Hello Rossoneri, this is AC Milan Talk. Welcome to our first weekly episode of the appointment in which we are focused on the curiosities of our favorite team on and off the pitch. Let me say that I'm so happy to meet you and to start this new adventure, obviously with you, but I'm not alone because here with me there is Adriano Del Monte. Ciao Adriano, how are you?
Ciao Alicia, very nice to see you. I'm very well and very happy to be back for another season.
With us also Sheridan Bird. Ciao Sheridan,
Ciao, Alicia.
ready for the
nice
start?
to meet you. Adriano, good to see you again. You're looking well, looking healthy. And
Thank you.
I'm very much excited about this season.
How was your vacation, guys?
Mine was not as exciting as Adriano's. Adriano has to begin, I think.
I had a nice summer. Well, I didn't have a summer, Alicia. I had a winter in Australia. I covered the Women's World Cup. I got a new hairdo as well. But from so many fans who watch this show, especially in my home country in Australia, I was given this. This used to be an old Milan shirt, which was upcycled into a nice bag. And in the bag, Sheridan, you can show one of the gifts. Show this one here.
Look at that.
That's a nice jacket I was gifted.
So this is for Sheridan?
Well,
it is now.
We'll see.
It is now.
And also this one here, this is my personal favourite.
This is so beautiful.
With Zlatan there on the top. So some wonderful gifts from our magnificent fans in Australia. Wonderful stuff. And it was a very nice time. The Women's World Cup Licha was very exciting in Australia as well.
A present from Australia for our AC Milan Talk fans.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. We love them and we look forward to them enjoying the show a lot more this season because we're back and we're looking forward to a very good season on the pitch.
So we're ready to start for our first episode, but we know very well that we are already in the heart of this new Serie A season. So let's start with our first male team. We could try not to think about it, but let's cut to the chase. Is the derby match the main problem, if we can do this, say it like this, of this weekend? Inter Milan and would be something very difficult for the team and for Coach Pioli, a good and a big responsibility on the pitch. Adriano, let's start with you.
Amazing way for us to start the show, the season, with the Derby della Madonnina upon us. Sheridan, of course, there were many clashes between these two famous clubs last season, and it's going to be a great test because we know there are many new faces, new names, and there are new pressures which will come with the new season. Both teams have started very well in the league, but Sheridan, I love the timing of this. Just after the international break, the new players have had some time to settle in, and now the perfect timing for a perfect test.
Yeah, it's always special. The derby is always a fantastic fixture. Both teams are flying as well. Let's say football-wise, Milan, the city, is dominating Serie A. It's only 3 rounds though, so there's a long way to go. But it's a really good test. This is, if we can call it, the new Milan, and it's the first huge test. No disrespect to Bologna, Roma or Torino, the teams that Milan have faced so far, but I think everyone will agree across the world this is the real big test after the international break. The players are back, energised, new players, first derby for so many of the new players. So it's got the ingredients to be a really exciting match, a fantastic occasion.
Also because in this moment AC Milan is at the top of the table on par with Inter, so we know very well that after this match there will be only one team at top.
Exactly, something will change. Hopefully the result will be in the red and black favour of the city, but you know there's a lot that can happen, but it's a really exciting time to be playing. The cousins.
It's an opportunity as well, of course, to put the mark down early. Bragging rights early in the season can be very important. Yes, both teams have started well, but this is now the start of the very important next period. Champions League to come as well for both clubs. So a really important 3 points on offer this weekend.
Before we focus on derby match, I would like to make a recap of what happened in the 3 first days of this new Serie A, because 3 winnings in 3 matches, a good result, a good beginning for our Rossoneri, and against opponents little difficult. Firstly Bologna, then Torino, and the last one Roma José Mourinho. And these good results can say something good about this new team and new forces for Stefano Pioli.
No doubt. Look, 3 different opponents, obviously coming in. The Roma with respect. Obviously, probably the toughest of the three there, but an opportunity, Sheridan, for these, particularly the new players. We know the turnover that has been. We know that a number of new faces have come in and have settled in quite well, but an opportunity to get used to life and football under Pioli in a Milan shirt. It comes with great pride, great responsibility. And what I've loved so far overall is that a couple of the new players that have come in, but a couple of the really important players from the recent seasons really stepping up. Of course, Rafael Leao now in the number 10 shirt, looking very good. A lot of support around him. Olivier Giroud has been prolific as ever, and it has been
with your haircut,
a great haircut. Olivier
style.
I'm loving Giroud's style. It's a very good style. But look, it's been a really positive start. Some wonderful goals as well. We see Pulisic scoring there. So it's been a positive start. But that's why I mean, from all the positives that have been taken away from the opening 3 match days, it's now time to translate that into a very strong derby performance.
Yeah, exactly. It was good for the new players to taste Italian football. Bologna are a tough team to beat. Torino, it was nice for them to play Torino at home to get their debut in Serie A. And against Roma, Jose Mourinho's Roma at the Stadio Olimpico in the capital is never, ever easy. So it's been a good start. They've had a taste of the different aspects of Serie A, but they've also put in some wonderful goals. Look at Pulisic, right man on the spot, assist from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. The new boys, who we'll speak about a bit later, but have been fantastic. It's just been a really positive start to the season, not just for the points, Licia, but also for the performances. So far, and long may it continue, it's a really exciting champagne or Prosecco football style Milan, and it's what the fans want. They want to see exciting front foot football.
What's your favourite moment, your favourite action in this 3 first day of this new Serie A? Sheridan, start with you.
I think we saw it a few seconds ago. We saw Christian Pulisic's goal.
Okay.
Against, I think it was against Bologna. It was just a really good way for him to introduce himself to his new fans. So my personal moment was Captain America's rocket goal against Bologna.
For me, with exception to Giroud's haircut, I think it's... no, I'm with you. Pulisic, I would like to be different, but I'll have to be the same because I've really liked his inclusion into the team, the fact there has been some output, but particularly one of the Pulisic goals, the team play, the build-up, it feels like they have been players playing together for quite some time, and it has been wonderful. That's a That's
another special moment.
That's another special moment. But we've seen many special moments already. I hope after this weekend, Licia, the next special moment will be the Derby della Madonnina this weekend because we know how important this is. But look, it's been a fine start and really excited for the week ahead.
So let's talk about the first derby of this new season versus Inter. Maybe there's the memory of what happened in the last season for the results, but also the awareness that this new team could do best things.
Exactly. Last season, OK, there's no point in trying to sugarcoat it or deny it. The derbies didn't smile upon Milan last season. The derbies weren't friendly or kind to the red and black half of the city. But it's last season. You have to archive it. Football is about tomorrow, not about yesterday. And Milan have got so many exciting new players playing their first derbies. Will be desperate to make a positive impact. So maybe some lessons were learnt from last season's derbies. But it doesn't matter because it's about looking forward. It's about integrating the new players. We're looking at Simone Inzaghi, currently Inter's manager, Inter's head coach, who's done very well. It has to be said. It will be a tough match, and the aim will be to completely forget what happened last season and this new exciting Milan to try and cause problems for Mr. Inzaghi's side.
Not sugarcoating it, as you said, I think there is immense pressure on both clubs coming in. There are new players who have spoken. One thing I've really liked about the Milan new signing, speaking so passionately about their experience of the San Siro atmosphere and what that brings and playing under that intensity. And we know Derby della Madonnina, the atmosphere does not get any better. So yes, you're right, Sheridan. Archive the results from last season. Didn't go Milan's way, but a massive opportunity here with pressure on both teams to come out on top.
Great beginning of the season for the Rossoneri, but also for Inter. How Simone Inzaghi's lads arrived to this big appointment, both physically and mentally? Inter,
very interesting, aren't they? Obviously, at the end of the day, they made the Champions League final only 4 months ago. So a team with great quality, a team that need to be respected, but a team that, similarly to Milan, have had some turnover in the summer, particularly in attack, Sheridan. That is going to certainly be, when we start to break this game down, Obviously, Lautaro for Inter leading the line. Lautaro, again, a wonderful player that does need to be respected, but a lot of quality in the Milan defence, which I think is going to be a really interesting battle to keep an eye on. We know Chow, one of our favourites here, he's already spoken about how much he's looking forward to taking on Lautaro and that Inter attack. So it's an Inter team that deservedly so come in fine form as well. And I think they'll have some confidence about their early start, as will Milan, making this match all the more interesting coming in.
Yeah, they're playing very well, Inter. They've had a similar start to Milan. They've played difficult teams, but they haven't played a killer team or a super team. They were very impressive against Fiorentina. They played very nice, quick, incisive football. But they too will be, you know, a bit worried about playing Milan. They will know that they've got a challenge as well, as do Milan. So it should be an intriguing fixture. You always respect Inter. It's always a match you look forward to. It's Clash of the Titans already, you know, round 4, and it's already a match which could have a big impact on the season, hopefully, if it goes Milan's way.
The pre-match press conference in which Stefano Pioli talked about different topics and obviously about the opponents. So let's listen to him together.
I've seen a lot of focus in terms of preparing the derby in recent days, but everyone seems quite relaxed. Above all, the new players, maybe it's because they're not completely fully versed with what they'll come up against tomorrow, but I like the way they work, I like the way they work together, I like the way that they're actually experiencing this pre-match atmosphere, because they're very focused, but they've got smiles on their faces, and I think that's the right way to approach matches such as these, because as and when tomorrow comes around, you leave the hotel, you get to San Siro, you don't need a great deal to actually figure out the importance of this match, to figure out what sort of situation you'll encounter. But as I said, these are players that already have significant experience because they've been involved in big matches, in big leagues, so I don't expect anything unique or in particular, apart from the desire and the tranquility to try and come up in such important matches.
It's the first derby for new signings, not only rossoneri, but also nerazzurri. Among the new signings of Stefano Pioli, there is Loftus-Cheek, who is doing very well.
He has been fantastic in midfield, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He's brought energy, he's brought power, he's brought technique as well. He's something that perhaps Serie A in recent years hasn't been used to, the all-round box-to-box midfielder, but also physically imposing. It will be a real challenge for Inter's midfield to contain him. When he gets going, he's like a rampaging bull. He's absolutely fantastic, and he's slotted in so quickly. He looks great in the Milan shirt, and the fans already, I think, have a soft spot and affection for Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Let's hope he can continue this sparkling form at the start of his Milan career.
I'm sure he will. One thing I always look at with new players, and I think the fan you can tend to forget that a young man moving to a new country, a new culture, a new language, for him to have settled in as quickly as he has done is super impressive. But he needs that support around him because he's done very well in the early stages. We are only 3 rounds in, but he has made as good a start as Milan could have asked for. So one of many new signings, Licha, really impressed by his start, and like every player on the pitch this weekend, he'll be put to the full test against Inter in the derby.
Loftus-Cheek talked about the derby. Here's the interview.
I've been asking, teammate what it's like, and they say, oh, the atmosphere is crazy, and it's... But they were saying, just wait until you wait and see. Just wait and see.
Rafael Leao, and still Rafael Leao!
I'm really excited to be a part of a fixture like this. And I know how much it means to the fans, and that's why you wanna put on a good performance for the fans and the club, and you want to win the game. But these are the games you want to play in as a footballer. You don't want to play in the games that don't mean anything. The friendlies is the games that have the most weight, the most pressure on your shoulders that you want to play in.
In this new beginning, the new rossoneri showed themselves capable of becoming a point of reference for teammates, the coach, but also AC Milan fans. We have said Loftus-Cheek and, for example, Reinders in a good midfield, but also Pulisic with his scored goals. Adriano, let's start with you.
Absolutely. 3 very impressive starts for 3 very impressive players. I think what they bring to the team, as well as their quality, you see the list of names there, there is a lot of depth and quality that has been brought in. Sheridan. Really looking forward to seeing all of these players really fulfill and maximise their potential in these early stages. But the three you mentioned there, Licha, they've certainly brought hunger, they've brought energy, and they've just brought a boost to what was already an impressive Milan squad, but a team that, well, look, that boost, that added hunger, it doesn't hurt, and I've really been impressed by the output. And well, this weekend we heard Loftus-Cheek there speak so passionately about how much he's looking forward to the experience of playing in the derby. And this is where you really, really understand what it means to wear that badge, wear the Milan shirt, and represent this fantastic club. So it's another opportunity for them in their very short Milan careers to this point, Sheridan, but one that I'm sure they'll make the most of.
Yes, I mean, the new guys, the ones that you mentioned, Reinders, Ruben, Loftus-Cheek, have started so well, and 10 new recruits is a lot. I mean, it's basically almost a team of outfield players. So they've really settled in well, and I think, and there is just Reinders there, just showing the brave side of it. Well, it was a bit naughty, that challenge, actually. I'm sure the referee wasn't too happy with that, nor was Reinders. But he's been really impressive this season, and you join AC Milan for nights like the Derby della Madonnina, and all the players that have signed will get their chance. It's a long season, hopefully with lots of games, not just the domestic matches, but hopefully a long run in the Champions League again, Coppa Italia, there'll be the Super Coppa Italia, quindi all of the new players should get their chance at some point in the season, and hopefully they'll all take their chance as impressively as Pulisic, Reinders and Ruben.
A lot of football to be played. I think the most impressive element of their inclusion into the team has been the fact I mentioned earlier with Leao as an example. That added attacking depth has now freed up Leao at times, and we're seeing some of the top players play a bit freer, a bit more loosely, and as a result the output's been there. And obviously Giroud's had the output with the goals, Leao's quality, and I'm looking forward to some of those other players, Chukwueze as well, being integrated into the team, and we can see a much stronger Milan.
Plus, Adriano, sorry to interrupt, but they're quick. There are some really quick
I love
players.
the pace and power. The pace and power really, really excites me now going forward, especially in Europe. When coming in the Champions League against, well, we know match day one, Newcastle, an English team. There's obviously Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund, three different clubs from three different countries that play three different styles. Pace and power, always important.
Modern football, speed is so important.
Correct.
It's good to have technique and skill, obviously, but you need to have speed, especially when you're playing away in the Champions League and you sit back, absorb the pressure, then you strike.
And for these new signings, it is also the first time they are going to leave the emotion to play in a match which is a tradition here in Milan, the derby.
That's incredible. Yeah. As I said, as a player, think about it. We're sitting here talking about it. It gives you goosebumps thinking about it. But for these players to come, and having had their respective careers previously, but to come to this match, not only a match so iconic in Italy, but one of the most famous matches in world football. I can't begin to get my head around how special that would be. The energy, the nervous energy, the anticipation. It would be a special time. But again, this is what I like. You play for this club, you need to play at this level, and you need to perform at this level as well.
Absolutely. It's a pressure that you can't replicate in training. And it's why players want to get to the top. You want to play in the derby in Madrid or Milan, or Milan rather, or somewhere in some of the London derbies, or somewhere like Borussia Dortmund against Bayern Munich, which is not a local derby, but it's a league derby. You want to test yourself in these matches. You want to really put yourself under pressure and then show people who you are. And hopefully the new guys will do so.
So can you feel this particular atmosphere in this week? Because on Saturday there's the derby match in the city. It's something strange.
It's a special energy.
Yeah, special energy.
And I think one of the best things that perhaps people don't talk about enough is that it's a friendly energy.
Yeah.
Because not every derby is, let's say, as convivial or as friendly, contested in a kind of a cheerful spirit. But there are families who the husband might support Milan, the wife might support Inter, or there might be brothers and sisters in the same family that support different sides of the city. Well, that's a wonderful thing. It's a fearsome derby, and both teams really want to win. But it's a friendly derby, and that I think makes it even more special.
But you do feel the buzz in the city. Living here, you feel it, you soak it up. Yeah. The papers, the colour, you do feel it. Everyone's talking about it in every bar, every restaurant, everyone's talking about this big match, and hopefully the first of many, because it's certainly a wonderful game to cover and be a part of.
In this team, there are new signings that know very well Europe. And now it's so important because it's Champions League time. On Wednesday, the kickoff against Newcastle at San Siro Stadium. Sheridan, start with you.
So exciting, the Champions League is back. It's an early kickoff as well, so it's quick, it's even sooner. It's not even, we don't have to wait till Tuesday night, it's Tuesday evening. Newcastle are a team that have been really improving periodically for about 3 years. They're back in the Champions League after a long time out.
2 decades, Sheridan.
There you go, 2 decades. I wasn't born the last time Newcastle were in the Champions League. No, they'll be a really tough opponent. They have the British style, if you like to call it that way. They play with energy and speed, but they also play good football. They've had a difficult start to the season, so they'll be hungry to do well against Milan. Things haven't gone as they would have planned, as they would have hoped in the Premier League, so the players will want to prove themselves. So it's got all the makings of a really good Champions League match, different styles, you know, different approaches to football, but they have to be respected, the Magpies.
They also have Sandro Tonali. They also have that player who, if plays, because there is some doubt over fitness, we'll get a welcome back to San Siro perhaps earlier than he had anticipated after leaving. But this Champions League group is, well, it's the group of death.
It's spicy.
We have fun.
This is an incredible group. But this is why you play Champions League football. This is why you want to play Champions League football. Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund, Newcastle United, 3 famous clubs in their own right. They will be 3 amazing trips away from home for the fans that go to Paris, to Dortmund and to Newcastle. And I think this is a wonderful test at the right time for Pioli's men, because a number of new signings coming in who have had European experience at other clubs come all together now off the back of a semi-final in the Champions League last season, and I'm very, very excited by these 6 match days ahead.
Which one could be the funniest match against Newcastle, Paris Saint-Germain or Borussia Dortmund? Sheridan.
Well,
it's a good question.
It's a difficult question. Thank you for that difficult question.
You're welcome.
I think the most entertaining, you probably have to say PSG, because they have got their captain is Kylian Mbappe. Or I believe he's the captain. He's the captain of France. He's a good player. That's the important thing. So any match against Kylian Mbappe is always entertaining. Hopefully, the Milan rearguard can keep him quiet when he comes to this city.
Honestly, I think you could make an argument for all 6 games here, because each game has something different on offer. I think this first match day against Newcastle is as important as any match. You've
got to get off to a good start.
Right, at home, first start against a team that haven't been in the Champions League for 2 decades, very important. I think the trip to Paris Saint-Germain is going to be very special, but then again, a trip to Dortmund is one of the best in football. So I haven't given you an answer, Lucia, but I think all of them for different reasons, but certainly I think there is the next few days coming up, the derby and then Newcastle match day 1, this is as big a moment for Pioli and his men all season.
Good answer, Adriano.
Thank you.
That's all for our first male team, guys. So let's move on with our women team. It's time for a new beginning also for Maurizio Ganz's team on Sunday against Roma. Which kind of opponents are the giallorossi, Adriano?
Well, which kind of opponents are they? The opponent this weekend, of course, Milan will play at home. The opponent this weekend is the champion from last season, a Roma team who, of course, will be balancing Champions League playoffs with the early stages of the Serie A season. We spoke about it in the second half of last season, Sheridan, with Milan, of course, going into the championship group, playing against all of the other teams that had finished in the top 5. And I think we were seeing consistent improvement by Ganz's team. Now, Ganz, another season at Milan. It's a few years he's been there now. So a nice opportunity to come up against a team in Roma who they met also in the Coppa Italia, I think it was the semis last season. So a team that they are very familiar with. Obviously, some changes for both teams. But I think this is the way you want to start the season. You come off a very strong pre-season. A good time for women's football. I mentioned I was at the Women's World Cup. The interest couldn't be any higher at the moment. And to come up at home against the reigning champion, a really nice test to get things underway.
A nice, tough test, you know. There will be no complacency. You can't sort of They can't glide into the season serenely because first match is against the champions, which I think is good, actually. If there's one criticism we had of the women's side, the Milan Femminile last season, was they didn't start very well. And they know that. They admitted that. The players spoke about that. Mr. Gans spoke about that, the head coach. Last year was a very slow start, and then after Christmas they were fantastic. But to play against Roma, the champions of Italy, in the first match is actually good because it means you have to be straight off the bat.
That's right.
You have to be on form. You have to be sharp. It will be tough, but it will be a good spectacle, hopefully. And as I say, the key is start the season well. Don't get off on the back foot because that makes life complicated.
Yeah, we have seen that the Rossonere start this new season with the big matches. Firstly, Roma, then Napoli, then Juventus. So, good challenges for the team. That has changed something during summer for new signings. Many for Maurizio Ganses. Which kind of new signings are these players? How they could help the play of the team?
My eyes there immediately go to Staskova, who's had Serie A experience with Juventus previously, a player that will come in Chernoya as well. These are the experienced players that will come in and help take Guns' team to that next level, no doubt about that. But look, there's always turnover. We've seen it in the men's team. Obviously, youth team's different with players at different ages, but there is always turnover, and that's up to the manager, to the group, to ensure that, as you said, they get off to that strong start. But what I really do believe is the core of this team that have the experience in that second half of last season where we did see improved performances against the very strong teams in Serie A. I think they'll understand that, as you said, Sheridan, if they're not already listening, that important start is very good to ensure that they're in the mix for that top two finish, of course, which is the target to ensure a return to the qualification for the Champions League next season.
Yes, when I look at those new signings, those new faces, I see a blend, a good blend. You've got some young, exciting players. You've got more experienced players, like you mentioned, Chernoya arriving from Juventus. I mean, she's done everything in women's football in Italy. So it's a nice blend, and they will all have their impact, whether it's starting or coming off the bench. And Mr. Gans has kept the core of players last season who were fantastic, like Berga, our friend Valentina Bergamaschi, Christy Grimshaw, the Scottish Lionheart in midfield, had a brilliant second half to the season. So there's enough good stuff there to do well and to get that, that top two finish, hopefully even finish in the top one, so to speak. But
top one would be good.
The top one, you don't get any higher than the top one. So there's enough there, there's quality there. Let's see how they start the season. And they have this, like you said, Licia, this beginning against Roma, Napoli, Juventus. It's a baptism of fire.
So let's good luck for our Rossonere for the first match of this new season. Now let's change chapter because we are going to speak about our under-19s. Sheridan, a good beginning for Abate's team, 2 winnings in 2 days, and they are at the top of the table.
A really good start, and the interesting thing, Licia, is that last season, the Primavera, similar to the women's team, didn't have a great start, and they were playing catch-up until January. This season, however, 2 victories straight away, 7 goals in 2 matches. There's been a changing of the guard. Some of the older players, and by old I mean over 19, they're not old in real life, but you know what I'm saying, moved on. Captain Kevin Zeroli has been fantastic.
You've been big on Zeroli.
I love Kevin Zeroli. Yeah. He's a really good, he's a midfield general. There is the boss, Ignazio Abate. He is so thrilled with how the team are playing. The first match of the season, this is against Bologna. It's the most recent match, not the first match. But Diego Sia, one of the young wingers, has been in really good form. When I say young, you know what I mean. They're all young.
We know what you mean.
I think you know what I mean. I say it every week. Likewise, 2 goals for Diego Sia. Some good performances from all of the attack. And it's just been a really positive start. It's so much better than last year when they struggled at the beginning of the season. But to win, to score 7 goals in your first 2 matches, Mr. Abate will be absolutely thrilled. We'll see a few of those goals. We're just seeing the action against Bologna, but we'll see some of those goals. Vincenzo Perucci has scored 2 goals as well. Everyone is performing well. The defence is looking solid. Giancarlo Simic, central defender, who reminds me of a young Fabio Cannavaro is having an impact. It's just been a really... That was Giancarlo Simic we saw. There is celebrating with his teammates. It's a really good group, and it promises well for the rest of the season.
So a lot of positivity to take away.
So much positivity.
You're sounding excited, so I'm excited too. And of course, off the back of the semis last year in the UEFA Youth League, that's incredible. And
I think a great group.
I think for Abate and the group that has remained from there, it's just momentum that's carrying on from the end of season success, albeit the start of the season probably didn't go the way they would have hoped.
No, it's just exciting to see the wingers, Diego Sia, Hugo Cuenca on the wing are fantastic. There's a striker called Camarda who scored 2 goals for the Italy. I think it was under 19s or under 17s in midweek. He's an exciting player. Mr. Abate has just slightly changed the system. Giancarlo Simic and Clinton in central defence are fantastic. They've played so well in the first 2 matches. They even they conceded 1 goal in each match, but the defence looks relatively watertight. So watch this space. If you don't normally have time or watch the Primavera, well, give this group a chance because they're really, really exciting and they score some fabulous goals. They've already scored some contenders for goal of the season.
Your favourite action in this first 2 days? Thinking also about the new signings.
Yeah, OK. I think it has to be... you've put me on the spot there. It's a difficult one. But I think it was probably... Do you know, I'm going to go for a tackle. Giancarlo Simic, who's not a new signing, I confess, but his slide tackling, his timing... His intervention when there's danger has been fantastic. So the goals are always fabulous. But Giancarlo Simic is a name to look out for. I mention him every week. Last season, I mentioned him every week.
You've mentioned him 10 times already this season, so we'll definitely keep
Giancarlo Simic.
Absolutely. We are going to keep a close eye on him.
Keep an eye on him.
We will.
He's a rising star.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Guys, that's all for today. Thanks to Adriano Del Monte. Ciao Adriano, grazie.
Thank you, Licia. Thank you very much.
And thank you to Sheridan Bird. Ciao, Sheridan.
Thank you, Licia. Thank you, Adriano. Thank you for watching as well.
Dear Rossoneri, thanks for following us. See you in the next episode of our AC Milan Talk. Ciao.